hello and welcome and hello everyone to my new YouTube channel, Inline Sunshine. Thought it was time to start one. So, when thinking about topics to kind of figure out how we should start this motovlog series off with, I kind of figured the best spot is how to start with motorcycles. And honestly, it began with a car. So, close to a year ago, I got in a car accident in my Accord, and the car was totaled, right? So, thankfully, I still had a work truck to get around. Finding a new car wasn't a pressing matter, but it was important to get one. And my girlfriend's friend told her, hey, I went to a dealership to turn in my old car, and they only offered me $100 on the investment, right? So I told them that I'd rather give it to charity before I take $100 from you off my car. It's still a running car, and your boy Sunshine here, well, he turned into that charity, right? So I get this car. Now, the one stipulation with this car is that it is a manual, right? So I have only driven one manual car in my entire life, and that was for a grand total of about 5 minutes when I was 18. And I did not have the best instruction, like most of us who have young friends. When you're young and don't really care about too much in the world, he said, yeah, just drive it, it's easy, man. One lever down, one lever up. So I just scraped and screeched his actually fairly new Audi through a neighborhood, and then never touched the manual again. But at $100, you can't really beat it, right? So I started learning to drive a manual, and I remember when I was younger, in high school, a couple of my friends got some motorcycles. We might talk about that at some point in time on the channel. And I wanted to try it, and the immediate response was like, dude, you don't even know how to drive a shift stick. You're not touching my bike. Which, in retrospect, obviously a smart decision on their part. What it did kind of pop up in my head, though, after I started driving this manual, I was like, hey, this wasn't that hard, and maybe I'll learn to ride a motorcycle. So I get this bug in my system about learning to ride. This is beginning of the year, right? Beginning of 2020. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I go online and start ordering some safety gear. You know, I only kind of know what I'm doing. You're doing some research. I get some stuff, but maybe we'll talk about that in a different video. And then once I have all my gear up, you know, I sign up for the Ohio's version of the MSF, which is, you know, the safety course. You know, get your license, we get my temps and all that, and then bam, COVID-19 happens and everything gets shut down. So I have been waiting to take my safety course for about the entirety of my riding motorcycles, which is around 6 months, right? So I still haven't taken it. I'm finally scheduled to, and I don't think it's getting shut down this time. I'm finally scheduled to take my safety class in about 2 weeks here, which will probably be one of the upcoming videos, is talking about what that situation feels like, right? Make sure that meters are a little bit better position. I'm excited. I mean, at this point, I've probably put on 3,000 miles or so on motorcycles. I've been riding as much as I can. I started again about late winter, early spring, and been riding as much as I can every time weather permits. And just trying to get the feel from it. I've gone out. I'm up in Northwest Ohio, Toledo area. Gone out to Cleveland a couple times on my bike. Well, on my bikes, I guess. So I have 2 bikes. I've got this guy, which is the reliable one. This is the one you'll probably see me on most. This is a 95 Virago 750. So, you know, just a good cruiser beginner bike. Seems to be everything I need. It gets me on the highway when I want to. Don't tell anyone about that, but it also gets me around town just fine, right? It's pretty comfy. Obviously, it's not the fastest thing in the world, but, you know, it's completely stock. How I ended up with this bike was I started with a Kawasaki KZ650, 1978, right? So that bike was good when it was running. You had to let it warm up for about 10 minutes and then fiddle with the idle. Okay, so that guy didn't have any brake lights. That was a little spooky. So then you have to fiddle with the idle, and then you can get it running. But so I changed oil on it, you know, learned about chain maintenance, and the final thing I need to really address, you know, brake fluid, all the basic stuff. I learned all about that. And the final thing I really need to adjust on it is a vacuum leak it has going. You know, spend the time hunting down new boots and everything that I needed to kind of close up some things, and we get going. It's actually going pretty good, and then the engine seizes up on me. After a bit of time and some marvel, we get that engine moving again, but you know, I'm not trusting it yet. I really need to just break the whole thing down and learn how to, which will be a fun project, but learn how to, you know, kind of just rebuild everything in there. Which led me to this bike, right? So I get this guy. He's a dealer, had him, has been sitting at his showroom for 6 months or so. Again, it had 5,000 miles on it when I got it. We're just coming around onto 6,500 now on this bike. Most of that was in the month of July. But, you know, he was looking for 2,600 on it. And I was thinking, it's like, man, I just, you know, grand total probably had 1,200 wrapped up in the other bike. And I was like, I can't spend that, right? So I hit him up on Facebook at night and say, hey, you know, I'd love to check out the bike, but I can, you know, afford about 2,000 on it, right? And I really can't budge much, you know, anywhere from that number. So if you want to see me, I'll come on out and check it out. I do, and the thing's pristine. You know, it's completely stock. There's a couple things I've done to it. It actually still had the original tires on it, so that was the big investment, was getting some new tires on it. They didn't look dry rot or anything, but they're, you know, 20 years old. I just do not trust them. Watch out for these guys. Yeah, I think you learn pretty quickly on a motorcycle that you gotta just treat everything out there like it's trying to kill you. You know, like there's a guy back there, man. No brake lights. Sick. But, hey, you know, I guess them's the brakes. That's why you stay a couple car lengths back, stay aware of your escape routes and all that, but thankfully nothing went wrong there. No point in getting too mad about it. Hopefully it gets that fixed up before anyone gets hurt. Anyway, so I buy this bike, you know, it's $2,000, and so far I've been loving it. I realize it's not the fastest bike in the world, but it definitely is. Definitely have been worth the money. Now, why bother filming any of this? You know, why are we doing this? Well, there's a couple reasons. First, I think it's really good to just have a record of your rides. I've waited a while until I did this because I didn't want to be distracted by talking to a camera while riding around. You know, I want to get some miles under my feet before I start doing that. And also, I've been skating all my life, so filming things has just kind of been a natural part of my life for the better part of 20, 30 years. You do stuff and you film it. So we go into, you know, I figured let's just strap this GoPro to my head, throw a mic in there, and we'll start doing a motovlog, and we'll film a couple of the adventures I go on. I get around a fair bit with skating still. It's rollerblading, you know, prepare yourself. But I get around quite a bit still, at least in the Ohio area. You know, we have friends in every major city here, so we try to travel as much as we can, get out to as many contests as possible. And just some street sessions all around. And having those connections means usually you get a good tour of locals from a city, which is really nice. And I figured, you know, we could probably film a little more of the lifestyle side of things as opposed to just the tricks and edits. You know, I'll definitely be putting some of that into the channel because it's one of my favorite things in the world to do. But, you know, one of the best parts about any hobby, it's just kind of culture around it, right? So I figured documenting that all is going to be a great time. I already do it kind of in a different way, so why not pull this into motorcycles? As I've definitely really taken to this. It's so fun, it's so freeing. It's weird how the nervous energy you get while riding, but it's so calming. You definitely feel like you're on edge and have to concentrate 24/7, but once you kind of get into that flow state and there's no traffic around or anything, it's such a great feeling. Who would have thought putting in a bunch of horsepower between your legs and pulling the go lever, real fun. So we're coming up on I figure we'll just kind of make a couple videos here and there about all the fun stuff to do, all the fun places to go around here in my life. And so right now we're heading up to Point Place. I'm gonna swing into my buddy's shop. So he's another part of the skate crew. Really sick tattoo artist and oil painter and metal/jazz musician. Pretty much professional cool guy, Pat. So we might pop our head into his shop for a second on this ride. It's kind of on one of the shorter loops I like to do. And say hi. I think we're organizing a session on this weekend for skating a little bit downtown. I'll probably film most of that. Let them know what's up, and we'll go in. So for the rest of this video, just kind of enjoy the footage, right? It's a nice, quick little ride. The weather's not too great today, but hey, it feels good, and it's better than just sweating like crazy. And like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Let's help grow this channel up, and don't let your memes be dreams, baby.